There's no easier type of filming than just picking up your camera and pressing record without any fancy stabilization equipment or tripods. The freedom you have when shooting true handheld is unmatched, but this technique does come with one big challenge: capturing a steady shot. Unless you're purposefully going for a stylized look, too much camera shake will be an instant distraction and ruin your shot. But there are plenty of ways to smooth things out. We shoot a lot of our stuff without tripods or gimbals, and we're going to give you 5 tips to shoot smoother handheld. Number 1. Use image stabilization. Image stabilization, or IS, is the most powerful tool available to handheld shooters. This is an automatic system that smooths out shakes and bumps in your footage in real time. There are 2 types of IS: in-lens stabilization, known as OIS, and in-body stabilization, known as IBIS. These mean exactly what they sound like. One system resides in the lens, and the other lives in the camera body itself. In general, IBIS is stronger and able to tame more extreme movement, but it does have its limits, as well as rolling shutter and jitter when the sensor runs out of room to compensate. OIS has less problems with jitter and artifacts, but its effect is generally more mild. In my experience, using a camera and lens combo that combines both systems produces the best results. Number 2. Shoot at a high frame rate. Shooting at a high frame rate, otherwise known as slow motion, is another great way to reduce camera shake. For example, let's say your video's main frame rate is going to be 24 frames per second. If you film your handheld footage at 48 and then slow it down, your shot will look much cleaner, and any camera movement will be twice as slow and therefore much less pronounced. And as a bonus, I've found that warp stabilizer works better when it has more frames to analyze. Number 3. Wider is better. When you're filming handheld, if possible, you should use a wide focal length. We recommend between 24 and 50 millimeters for the average shot. These focal lengths are just much more forgiving than their tighter counterparts. No matter how steady your hand is, if you're filming handheld with a 200mm lens, you're going to notice some bumps. This is because as the image itself is magnified within the lens, so are the edges of the frame, which in turn amplifies any sudden shakes or bumps that cause the field of view to change. When you're planning a handheld shoot, it definitely pays to factor a wide lens into the equation. Number 4. Make your camera comfortable. For most small, lighter cameras, having some sort of handle, cage, or battery grip is essential for shooting steady handheld footage. Because the more comfortable you are when you're filming, the less strain your body will have and the smoother your shot will be. Every filmmaker's needs and abilities are different. Some people just seem to have a steadier hand than others, and knowing your limitations goes a long way in determining how to rig your camera. But rigging your camera in a way that lets the core of your body do most of the work, rather than your arms, should be the primary goal. Number 5. Create your own motion. My personal favorite handheld tip is one that I've begun to just do subconsciously when filming. Introduce some subtle motion to the shot to make it more interesting and even to hide some shakiness. For example, rather than trying to keep the camera in the exact same spot when filming some handheld B-roll, I'll identify a good motion path and slowly rock side to side with the camera. You don't want to move your feet when you do this, just the core of your body as far as your legs will stretch. These subtle moves just make the shot look more cinematic, and with a steady hand, a comfortable grip, and good stabilization, you can really pull off some looks that would rival a dolly or a crane. Shooting good, clean handheld footage will open up endless possibilities for you as a filmmaker, and practicing these 5 tips is the perfect way to get started.